Hello YouTube, Reddit Math here, and welcome back to the Red Estate. In today's episode, a lot of our decisions are kind of made for us. I think I want to take out this level 5 party that we now have and try our hand at the first of our champion missions. Now, we've already got several of the bosses unlocked. Kind of interesting to me that you don't actually need to play champion missions in order to get the champion bosses. Like we've managed to push the level of the areas up high enough to get those even without playing them yet, everywhere except for the Warrens, which is still level 5. But I don't think I want to start with a boss fight, so this short champion mission seems like a good entry point. There's also a moon ring available here, which seems quite nice. So what I'm thinking is we could do a front rank Hellion, bounty hunter, plague doctor, and a cultist, and they become the tip of the spear, which is extremely appropriate for what we're doing here. We've only got 6,700 gold, so provisioning is going to be a little bit light. Again, making a short mission probably the most called for. We'll go ahead and pop into the provisioning screen. It's been a while, but we do have an actual dedicated healer this time, and it's just a short mission, so like a stack and a half I think should be just fine. We'll be able to top off a little bit in between fights and also deal with any sort of hunger strikes that might come. We'll go with like a stack and a half of torches as well. We are going into the Weald. Like 2 shovels on a short mission should be fine. I feel like the Weald has a fairly good mix of both bleed and blight. We either run into gnashers or the fungus things. Either way, they can do both of those, so that should be fine. There's also both bandage requiring and anti-venom requiring curios to encounter. Do like 1 cleansing herb, 1 holy water, and 1 key as well. So maybe we weren't too light on gold. I think this should be fine. For the short mission, I don't think we need to over provision. Part of me feels like I've been spending a little bit too much of our gold on that recently. So I'm going to try to lighten the load a little bit and provide us plenty of space to bring back some rewards here. As we pop in, I don't imagine anything is going to be terribly different, but like part of me is half suspecting for this to be just a terrifying monstrosity in the champion dungeon. Like suddenly everything's going to be different. I doubt that's going to be the case. It's probably going to look pretty much the same as it's looked before. Maybe a slightly higher chance to encounter some of the larger enemies.
Corruption has soaked the soil, sapping all good life from these groves. Let us burn out this evil.
Alright, and not exactly the best map we could have gotten. We're going to have to backtrack through half of the dungeon, so might as well just get started. We'll head in a direction, kind of chosen at random, and right away we get 1,000 gold. Hey, that's not too bad. And right away we use up half of our shovels. That's slightly less not so bad.
With misintent.
I wonder how this works. It's a torch. You light it on fire, and it provides you with light.
The way is lit. The path is clear. We require only the strength to follow it.
All right. Oh no. I was about to say we get eased into it with just a couple of webbers and spitters, but of course we can't be eased into it. We've got to immediately be surprised and have our party shuffled. Well, that went pretty well. Let's see here. With just 3 to 6 from those, I don't think that's going to be worth it. Let's try to get some characters back into position, maybe. She can attack from here, which is great. But that's less great. And a web with a stun. Awesome. Oh, God. Oh, more just not good. Okay. So, one thing right off the bat that is going to be different that I'm already aware of. Oh, man. Since he's stunned, of course, he can't anti-venom. The AI script I do know is different on the champion missions. So like the way marked.
Dazed.
Jesus.
About to break.
Okay. That's bad. That's real bad. So best case scenario
Decimated.
is that I manage to kill this guy before our cultist acts, so that I can be sure. Of course, I can't attack the third rank. Fantastic.
As the fiend falls, a faint hope blossoms.
Oh man. So that I could be sure he does not die from the blight. Thank God a battlefield medicine took care of him. And another dodge. Okay. He's going to be back on death's door. Yep.
A hand's breadth from becoming unwound.
Alright. He did survive. And heal himself for 0. Okay. I think I've really got to do this again. Alright. Back off death's door. And not quite. And again, back on death's door.
Clarified in
Oh
a
my
single
God.
strike.
So, importance of things to come here. Alright, 10 I can deal with. Is... we've spent half of this battle with one of our characters on death's door. You know what? Instead of the battlefield medicine this time, we'll do that. It does get the blight, so he is out of it. Okay. Just in case our occultist happens to get a turn, and he does, sweet, so that worked out. We got 4 more HP out of it by not finishing him off there.
A victory. Perhaps the turning point.
Whoa! Quest complete already. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and continue adventuring. So, we got extremely lucky / unlucky all in one fight. So many things to talk about. Alright, let's hit the heirloom chest. We did bring a key. It does find a hidden compartment. Oh man, we got 24 crests. Sweet. Okay, so we're not done yet. We're going to go ahead and push forward. I am so thankful that there turns out to only be a single room battle. That's going to obviously make completing this a lot easier, as we have already completed it. One of my thoughts I was trying to complete earlier, never quite got through, is there are 3 versions of the AI scripting for the 3 different levels of dungeons. And I'm not entirely sure all of the things it impacts, but one thing I do know it impacts is the use of marking. Early on, you would think, you know, like being marked causes enemies to attack you more often. But in the early game, that more often is actually not so much. I think it's 25, 50, and 75% as it progresses up. Meaning that when you get marked in a level 1 dungeon, it really only increases the chance of enemies attacking you by 25%. By the time we're here in these champion missions, 75% of attacks are going to go at the marked target. So that is, of course, going to lead to a lot more concentrated fire anytime one of your characters gets marked. And I think we definitely saw that as soon as the Webbers and Spitters had marked our occultist. He became the only thing they were concerned with. Now I'm thinking, let's go ahead and get rid of the occultist champion right off the bat. And then we can just focus down the ghoul. Alright. Least fitting can always hit. Alright, he will die from blight eventually. Let's go ahead and pop off a weakening curse here. Awesome, we do land the debuff. Ugh.
Death waits.
That's not a small amount of damage. And 15 bleed over the next 5 rounds. We probably want to do something about that. I think what we're going to do about that is actually adrenaline rush it off. We'll save one of our bandages for later. And then the pawn can use his, and then try for nothing. Okay. Well, Nothing. Okay. Well, that's gone extremely well. I said 2 turns ago, well, you know, he's going to die from the blight, but I didn't actually intend to, like, let the blight be the thing that killed him. Oh, man. I was going to try to stack weakening curses there. Obviously, that didn't quite play out. But the cultist champion is out of this fight, so I can start worrying about the ghoul, and I think if we could keep this guy stunned, get him blighted, get him bleeding. Oh, that's a nice hit. Okay. So he's taking 15 from that, 8 more from that. Not quite enough to kill him, but I think enough for us to start doing some healing all around.
Prodigious size alone does not dissuade the sharpened blade.
He's going to be stunned here. Lovely. So we only need to do 14 damage. That's half of it. And if we could do perhaps 7 more. 2 and 4. So not quite the tiniest of pokes. All I needed was the tiniest of pokes. He's at 12, and he's taken 11 damage. I think it's worth it to just ensure the kill comes. Alright. I could have done without it, but I couldn't be sure, right? The Insatiable Ghoul could have acted on his very next turn. Instead, we'll just pass around a little bit of healing to everybody and let him die from damage over time.
The greater the glory.
Alright, and again, we're out of inventory space.
The match is struck. A blazing star is born.
We'll go ahead and toss a couple of our torches here. And then as soon as we get into this room, I'm expecting we are a dead end and need to turn around. Okay. So we'll backtrack. We'll pick up a little bit of added stress because of it. We might even pick up an added room battle because of it. But so far, so good. I think we're lucking out a little bit here. Hunger. Okay. We brought plenty of food. Not a big deal. That extra food did actually... I don't know if it mattered exactly, but it made me feel a whole heck of a lot better that I was able to use that to get our occultist off of the very minimal amount of health that he had coming out of that fight. And, you know, sometimes confidence can be everything. Your mood can be quite helpful. He's also picked up a ton of stress. Alright, and let's see here. We do encounter a grave. Let's go ahead and do nothing because we've used all our shovels. Okay. Yeah, it's not super healthy without the shovel, I'm aware. Okay. Fair enough. Oh, my favorite. Harrying Gnashers. We did manage to surprise them, though. That is certainly something. I'll tell you what. Okay, 16. Not quite going to be a kill. But let's go ahead and spread a little bit of the love. He's back at full HP now. He is still our #1 contender for most stressed out.
Surges as the enemy crumbles.
That was a good hit. That was also a good hit. Awesome. We did get the bleed, which will eliminate him right away. And then all we've got is the single Gnasher. 2 damage. Man, that's not what I was expecting to see. Of course, they do have the chance for some pretty gnarly blight. Or bleed, rather. But thankfully, that did not happen this time. 1. Okay. And that's enough for the kill. Okay. Great.
These nightmarish creatures can be felled. They can be beaten.
Well, I'd certainly say we're doing pretty well on the gold front in the champion mission. Quite a few stacks and another scout. And only 2 scouts so far, but they have been like the best possible times for it. Alright. Disarmed trap. And then we get another curio. This one requiring bandages. I feel like it's been a while since we've been in the wield.
glittering gold, trinkets and baubles, paid for in blood.
Alright, so we got our second ruby, we got a little bit more gold. I would love if I could take this trinket with me. So you know what, we're going to go ahead and dose with holy water there, and we'll take that. The jade, you know, I'm going to go ahead and take it over a medicinal herb. I'd say it's a very small margin, but the 250 gold is technically better. And we're so close to the end that I don't imagine we're going to need it. And so close to the end, meaning we're at the end, because even in this teeny tiny short dungeon, I have already encountered my third need of a shovel. I could have even brought 4 for the shallow grave. Lesson learned there, man. We're going to have to pack some crazy amount of shovels. We're going to go ahead and just quest complete rather than subjecting our characters to that stress.
Pestilence will yet be driven from our woods.
Alright, and from a short mission, at least 14,000 gold. We could probably count maybe one of those, not heirlooms, one of those trinkets. Trinkets was the word I wanted. One of those trinkets as additional. Man, all we saw was crests. We didn't throw anything away, just all we saw was crests. We got a lot of them, though. 42. Alright. And so yeah, if we end up selling the trinket as well, you know, probably 15,000 from all of this. Alright, Elder Slayer isn't bad. Resilient was probably better. The Black Plague is terrible. Mostly for its 75% disease resistance debuff, which generally means we start getting a whole bunch of other diseases really quickly. Winded isn't great. Okay. Winded and Last Gasp. So when he goes below 50% HP, he gets slower and then faster. Replace Quick Reflexes, which I think was either speed all the time or maybe just speed in the first round. And Tetanus. Alright, so these guys definitely could use a round of de-diseasifying.
There is a great horror beneath the manor. A crawling chaos that must be destroyed.
Alright, and almost nothing happened. Basically, Villain, Vipont, Fitton, and Vane. Of course, Fitton throwing off our magnificent V squad. Do we actually have another character that starts with the letter? We have Ver. So it's possible. I don't think I would want to roll 2 occultists, though. That might be interesting one day. So, yeah, nobody was de-stressing, nobody was de-diseasifying or anything like that, as things were going pretty well for us. Let's go ahead and grab Vane, Vipont. I guess I have to actually do it. Vane, get rid of your Tetanus, and Fitton, also the Black Plague. Let's go ahead and do that for all of those guys, and then, you know, get rid of Warren's Phobe. Notice, man, 5,000 is a lot to get rid of these, which I don't think are super awful. Stress Eater is kind of a pain. It only kicks in above 50 stress, though. But I'll take getting rid of Warren's Phobe now before it locks in. So these guys are going to be all out of commission for probably a couple of weeks. Vane is going to need to de-stress also. We'll end up checking out one of our lower level squads for the next week. I hope you guys enjoyed this mission. I'm real excited to be going into champion missions now and seeing what horrors these places have for us. We're also nearing some of the actual goals. That's not the button I wanted. That's also not the button I wanted. There we go. Quest goals, roster goals. So there are little check marks to tick off for getting every class up to level 6. We're getting closer and closer to that with at least 4 of our classes now. So that is quite nice as well. And I think we're finally going to start seeing real end game economy, which I'm kind of interested to play around with a little bit more, especially while we're still in early access and everything is really fluid. I would like to be in on the conversation of whether or not the gold is still flowing, or with the rebalance costing a lot more, if it's just impossible to keep up late game, should we have been stockpiling in the early game while everything was really cheap? Do all those people who recommend, just disposable rosters of level 0 characters constantly flowing through and building a bank, are all those players right? Is that what we should have been doing all along, as we are now going to be costing more and more in the late game? I don't know. I'm going to find out with you guys, though. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, feel free to subscribe to see more videos every single day. Leave a like or a comment if you have anything to say about this or any of my other episodes, and I will catch you guys next time.